Welcome back to the Bobcast. Today I'm here with bodybuilder and Patel brother from another mother. Please welcome Pratik Patel.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
No problem, my guy. And happy belated birthday.
Appreciate it.
How old did you turn?
27.
27.
30's right around the corner.
Mm-hmm. What did you do?
Just worked and then ended up going to media. Met up with a couple of my college friends. They in media, they close the streets.
Mm-hmm.
There's this restaurant called Dos Gringos.
Okay.
So what they do is it's like BYOT, bring your own tequila.
Sure.
They have a margarita mix and stuff like that. So we just got drunk in media.
I love that.
So, can't complain.
So before we started today, I messaged you and I was like, what are you drinking? You're like, I don't really drink. So when did you stop kind of the drinking, or did you never really get into it, or because of fitness you are conscious about it?
I mean, it's not even that. When I was in college, I used to drink 7 days a week. We would go through a fifth a night. It was I think as I got older, I started realizing my body can't hang anymore.
Yeah.
And it would take me instead of 1 day to recover, it takes me 2-3 days if I get hammered.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's kind of what the turn off for me was from drinking. It's if I don't need to drink, or if it's not I'm not celebrating anything,
Yeah.
It's I really don't want to drink. It's just because I don't want to deal with the being hungover for 3 days. So
I agree. Yeah. The 3-day hangover, man. I have a 33-year-old sister, right?
Yeah.
And she'd always be like, "Oh, Bob, just wait until you turn 24, 25." And as soon as I turned, I think 26, that's when the 3-day hangover started. Because I would be that kid that would just get trashed, blackout, and then next morning I'm gonna go for a run and we're gonna do it again,
right, sweat it out.
Yeah, and then now that's why I told you I gotta drink because I'm on this bender.
Yeah.
So once I get out of the bender, it's gonna be really hard just to fucking digest alcohol again. But I don't want to go back onto a bender after this one.
I'm sure once you stop drinking, it's gonna be one of those things where you're your body just rejects it.
Yeah,
and you're honestly, it's just not worth it.
It's
anymore,
not.
So.
And alcohol is a poison, and I don't really want to drink anymore. But just for the Bobcast season 1, I have to bring this personality to you guys just one last time. And season 2 will be sobriety.
I mean, hey, listen, gotta enjoy your 20s before
they're
30s.
over.
Yeah. So.
But season 3 of the Bobcast will be a relapse season.
I love how you have it planned out. That's perfect.
Yeah, because I don't want to be sober for the rest of my life.
Right.
I want to just take a couple years, work on my craft with a clear mind, and then I can become stupid again.
Yeah.
But there has to be a time where I'm let my body recover.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. So let's get into it, man. You are a bodybuilder, and what we were talking earlier, and you said there was 3 different types, right? Men's physique, classic physique, and bodybuilding.
Yeah.
So, before we even get into your timeline, how did you pick which discipline you wanted to go into?
So it kind of wasn't really up to me. When I first started, I wanted to do men's physique. For people that don't know what that is.
Yeah, I really don't know, so you can really go into detail.
It's the guys that are in board shorts, right?
Okay.
It's if they were getting ready to go to the beach. So it's they're wearing swim trunks
right.
on stage. And then there's classic physique, which is one step down from bodybuilding. And it's you're wearing boxer briefs in a sense. And then bodybuilding's the real deal where you're wearing a thong.
Yeah.
And the difference between all 3 is the shape. That you bring to the stage.
Okay.
Conditioning, men's physique, they don't really care. They don't care about your legs because they're just covered. So with that being said, they only judge your upper body.
Okay.
Classic physique is the full deal, but they're not looking for crazy shape. They're looking for the muscle belly and conditioning, things like that. And then bodybuilding is the real deal. Head to toe, they're looking at the freakiness, how big you are, things like that.
Is symmetry a thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. That's in every category.
Okay.
That's how they judge you. But when I first started, I wanted to do men's physique because that was popular.
Okay.
That was up and coming. And my coach back then was just you have great legs from running in high school and college. So why would you want to hide it? So, I really wasn't there to do bodybuilding yet, but I was too big to do men's physique in a sense,
Okay.
you know, like my legs were like good. So he's like, don't hide them. So we decided we would start at classic. And then after my first year of doing classic, we moved up to bodybuilding when like he thought I was ready enough. And then, you know, the rest is history. So I've been like doing bodybuilding since 2018.
Right.
So
that's right out of college. You went into it.
yeah. So what happened was like, so I ran, you know, like high school track, cross country, things like that. I ran in college, and then I got hurt. So when I got hurt,
how did you get hurt?
I just pulled my hamstring, you know.
Yeah.
And then when I like transferred to East Stroudsburg, I just like really didn't keep up with it. And I kind of just was like playing club volleyball, things just to stay active.
I love that. I play volleyball too.
It's a
great sport.
It's in our blood.
Yeah,
you know?
it really is.
I feel like
we'll get back to that. Hold on. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, so, you know, I was like, I need to do something. I feel like nowadays there's a trend where like ex-college athletes or college athletes that got hurt, they just started lifting just to stay in shape. Nothing like, and then
and
they
for their
just,
mental too.
right,
Yeah,
you know, it's like I need to be active. Like, what can I do? And like that's the route that most of these ex-athletes take, and it just became like an addiction, not like a bad addiction, but like it was just like nice seeing like my body change. Because like when I was a runner, I was like, oh, I wish I was bigger.
Yeah.
And then like I could never, like, you don't want to get too big when you're like a runner, because it's like you got to carry all that weight.
Were you running long distance or sprints?
Yeah, long distance.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
You know, it's like I was doing cross country. I would run like the 2 mile, things like that.
You need to be lean for
Right.
that. Yeah.
I mean, not lean, but like you don't want to be like super heavy.
Jacked.
You
Yeah,
know?
no, I got you.
So, like when I stopped running, I was like, now I could actually like go and pursue that. So it was like one of those things where I was like, all right, let's like give it a try. At first I was, you know, really wasn't seeing any progress. I was like, this is like, is it working? You know? But like it's consistency. That's all it took. And then the rest is history from there. So
what did your like your parents are immigrants or no?
Yeah.
So like, you know, when you told them like, you know, guys, fuck being a doctor, I want to get on stage and just flex my muscles. Was there any pushback?
I mean, there was no pushbacks because my parents like knew from like the get go, like I was never gonna like be a doctor.
Okay.
Like, you know, like computers is my thing.
Oh,
so
okay.
It was like that's like
normal. That's like
you
normal
know,
for a brown person.
Yeah. So it's not like they weren't like, oh, like what are you doing with your life?
Right.
But I think when I first told them that I was eating meat.
Oh,
That was like the thing was like, wait, what? Like that was the shocking news to them. So like my first prep, you know, like part of it was when I was still on, like I was a senior at East Stroudsburg. So like part of my prep was when I was in school. So like I was away. So I was able to eat meat, came home, and that's kind of where we like hit this little like
bump in the road. Yeah.
So, you know, like I had to go vegan for a little. I was eating like tofu and stuff like that. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Like
I can't
hated
really fuck with tofu.
I hated every bit of it. So like when that happened, I was just like, all right, like if I'm gonna like take this serious, I just like have to like
get those gains.
you know, come out and be like, hey, listen, I'm doing this. So, you know, there's a little bit of falling out between my parents and I, just because they're like, wait, like that's against our religion, blah, blah. So we kind of like worked through it, and it's like one of those things where they were like, okay with me eating it, but they won't obviously like let me cook it and things like
in
that.
the house,
which is fine. Like I respect it. You know, I live in their house. I can't like be that disrespectful. So things worked out with that, and then like that was that. Like they came to my first show, and then they're like, oh, do you want us like, because they never, like when I ran track, they never came to any of like my meets or anything like that. So it was kind of like shocking to me that they even like showed up. Not that like I was expecting them to, but you know, it was nice of them. But I think that was like the more.
Was the first show like that OCB Richmond Amateur Championship or?
No. So my first one was OCB Battle of the Belt, which was in Burlington, New Jersey.
Okay.
It was in 2018. That was my first show that I did. And that's where I did classic. And it was all right. I think I did well for my first show.
Did you like win or anything?
I took third open and I won. I was second in novice.
Okay.
So
you did well. Like
well,
so my first comedy competition I did, like I came in second, right? And I remember just like seeing my mom after, and she was like, you need to go number 1. And I was like,
right.
Mom, fuck,
Right,
give me a
right.
second here, you know?
Yeah.
It's like-
It's easier said than done. Like, you know, like when I
Jesus
first
Christ.
went in, like I was not gonna lie, I was kind of like I was really nervous. And like it's one of those things when you're backstage, you see these guys like pumping up. I was in my head obviously
Yeah.
because it was my first show, but like as I started doing more shows, I just realized like at the end of the day, I'm competing against myself, right? I just got to get better from my last showing.
Yeah.
And like once I started taking that approach, it was like it was
I
a
like
breeze,
that.
you know?
I like that.
It was like at the end of the day, I'm running my own race. So
Yeah, I feel like, you know, when did you start eating meat? Senior year of high school, college, right?
no, so I started eating meat like fresh sophomore year of college. So that's when I moved away from home.
Right.
So that's when I like started like experimenting, and it's like, oh, meat, like chicken tenders, you know.
Do you eat cow too?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, don't get me wrong. I eat the full. Like,
yeah.
Like I switched some
Seafood,
during
everything?
not really. So seafood, I don't eat because I just don't find it like appetizing. Like I just can't like wrap my head around like, oh, like just a fish. It just
Yeah.
doesn't seem yummy to me.
What about like shrimp? You know.
Especially not like shrimp, lobsters, and that. Those like to me are just like the fucking insects of the ocean. It just is really not appetizing. to me.
Right. And that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
It's a mental thing, not
some
like
people.
a
Yeah. Some people don't like what you said, seafood, and like when I'm like, oh, let's go get sushi, and they're like, that's raw fish, my dude. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, right, you don't like seafood.
No,
yeah,
I need to get
it.
into sushi because everyone says it's so good and all that jazz.
Start with like the simple rolls. Like what I mean is like try like the Philadelphia roll, like cream cheese, like
Yeah.
things like that, and kind of just experiment. That's how I first started. I thought the same thing. I was like, raw fish, like is that safe?
It's not even the rawness to me. It's just like when I look at a chicken, I'm like, you know, like we're both land creatures.
Yeah.
I want to eat you.
Right.
A cow, we're both land creatures. It's just like now I'm like embarking into a different world. Like,
Territory.
yeah, and it's just like imagine if there were space animals and we're just up there hunting like aliens to eat aliens. It's like just to me, I can't do it yet. I want to do it eventually because everyone's about like sushi and that shit.
Right,
Like,
right.
but I just can't yet. And yeah, like definitely when I started eating, my mom like flipped the shit, and I was like, but they get used to it because it's better to have a son than not have a son.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. they might like disown you for a little,
Yeah.
but they'll come around.
They'll come around.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Definitely learned that.
And they don't. The only reason they don't want you to cook in the house because they cook on those same plates and pots and all that jazz,
Right.
and they just don't want that like bad juju.
Contamination,
Yeah,
things like that. So,
Yeah.
you know, I get it, but shout out to the air fryer. That'd be saving my life.
I haven't got an air fryer yet, but I feel like a lot of people are really happy.
Listen, that's when you get older. Those are the things that you look forward to. So, I got an air fryer. They were like nice enough. You know, they're like, oh yeah, just like we'll get you another fridge in the basement, microwave, do your thing down there. If
Oh,
needed.
hell yeah, that's
so,
very nice.
you know, they just have me like turn on the candles, things like that. So, they're like slowly like opening up to the
Yeah.
idea. They're not like totally against it as much as they were when I first told them. So.
Yeah, like so for me, my dad was like, actually, he was like, you know, like if you want to live in this world and go places, like there are places in this world that aren't vegetarian. So you might actually have to learn to eat meat. And it wasn't until I was in college in a frat and I was like, on Sundays, there was nothing left in the house except lunch meat. Because like we'd throw these parties and girls would just come, make grilled cheeses, make egg sandwiches. And then they didn't want the lunch meat. So I was like, oh shit. Like, so you get Chipotle and then there's just lunch meat in the house, you know? And so I was like, all right, let me try. And then, so what was your first meat that you started eating?
So it was, we were at Friendly's and I ordered chicken tenders.
With the breading. And
With the breading,
that's a safe way to start. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's your, the gateway to eating meat, you know? So it started with that, you know, honey mustard on the side, fries. And then, like, kind of just experimented from there. The next thing I think I had was I think it was a Red Robin burger. And I was like, wow, this is like juice. Like, I was like, holy cow, I've been missing. Yeah. No pun intended. But I was like, wow, I've been missing out. Like, for a
You
long
mind if
time.
I use that?
Yeah, it's all yours.
I'm so bad at puns, and people fucking roast me all the time. They're like, "Can you learn how to write a pun?" I'm just like, I can't. And when I like say a pun just on, they're like, "Did you do that on purpose?" And I'm like, "No."
That's funny. But yeah, it's yeah, it just happened.
Right. And like for you, when you started first eating meat, like did you have to eat it a couple times? Like for me, like I started with chicken Alfredo that Renee made. Shout out Renee. She was like our house chef, and like just one day I came down, I was like, I think today is the day. So I just tried it, and I was like, you know, like it, like just like chicken breast.
Yeah.
And she chops up maybe like, I don't know if she seasoned it too much because it was in Alfredo and pasta sauce. So it took me a couple times where I was just like, what is this, right? Because if you threw chicken in my mouth, like at that early stage, I wouldn't like know this is chicken until I ate it like 20 times. And that's happened with me with steak too. Like I had like a...
So with steak, it took me longer.
Yeah, to appreciate the taste.
I was like, people get this medium rare. I was like, it's still pink. That thing's alive.
Yeah.
And when I first started eating steak, I would have to get like well done, so I know it's like cooked, you know. So I think steak was the like iffy for me. It took me like multiple times of having it, and then I was like, all right, this is how it's supposed to be eaten. Like this is like okay.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes back to like how like you thought like seafood is like
Yeah.
That's how it was with steak, but it took me multiple tries. But like with chicken, I was like,
this was yummy just off the bat.
right off the grip, you know. It was like breaded, like I don't think it gets better than
but
that.
like
for
once
your
you
first
started
time.
eating like not breaded chicken, like chicken breast that you would like cook, did that take a minute, or you were just on board from the very jump?
I think I was on board because like I think the next time I had chicken was Chipotle. So that being said, like Chipotle is good.
Yeah,
regardless,
good meat, and they season it well. Yeah, I can't complain about their chicken.
I think like I didn't think it was like an issue. But I think when I started eating like not raw chicken, but like not seasoned chicken for like bodybuilding, that's when it was like, wait, I'm eating like unseasoned chicken.
Yeah.
Like so like I skipped all that, and then like it took me 3 years to like finally be like questions like, yo, I'm eating like unseasoned chicken. I feel like uncultured right now. You know?
You actually feel American culture, and you don't feel brown culture.
Yeah,
you know, you went from so much spice, and flavor to nothing.
You know, like curry's a big spice in our household. We season everything we eat, so you know, it was. I think when I got to that point, I was like, damn, this is like dry. Like so.
Does seasoning really affect your gains and performance and all that?
So yes and no. So like when you're in your off season, it doesn't really matter. Like you can season it like with anything you want. I know guys that are very like condiment heavy.
Okay.
Meaning like barbecue sauce, ketchup, things like that.
I love A1 steak sauce. Holy shit.
So like that being said, like when you're cutting, you want to reduce the amount of like your sodium intake.
Okay.
So that's why we like try to stay away from the seasoning. So it's not like all prep that I'm eating like dry chicken or dry steak or ground beef or turkey.
Okay.
It's probably right around like I want to say like 4-week mark where like all my seasoning gets like cut out. So we're just trying to reduce the sodium intake. So like leading up to the show,
I got you.
We'll introduce back the seasoning, things like that.
Wait,
like
leading up to the show or post show?
Like leading up to like peak week, we'll like introduce seasoning. So it's like kind of just like you're going to like pretty much like reduce it, and then like you're gonna increase your sodium intake. So it just kind of helps with like the vascularity and things like that.
Oh, okay. So that you just look more veiny and shit. Okay. Because when you deplete sodium, you just like
you're flat and like things like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Same things when you reduce carbs, like you're flat.
Do you do any cardio when you're like doing those gains and stuff?
So cardio, yes.
Is it detrimental to like the pump and all that for you guys?
So let me put it this way, right? In the off season, I would do maybe like 3 days of 30 minutes. You know, that's it.
Okay.
Leading up to shows, like during like prep, there has been times where I've done like 30-minute cardios, like 2 sessions, like fasted and like right after my workout. And there's also been times where I had to do an hour fasted and an hour like post-workout just because I wasn't like where I needed to be. So yeah, cardio it definitely plays a big role into prep. So,
But are you doing like you're not doing like so this is what I brought up that cardio. Like when I do cardio now, it's just like running on the treadmill at like 12
like intervals, is that what you're talking
yeah,
about?
like 12 speed, crank that thing up to 5 and just like a minute on, minute off, you know?
So there's
to increase like the pump type
yeah,
deal, you know?
so you can do that. I've had like people where, you know, they're like, oh yeah, I do like 2 minutes on, a minute off on the treadmill or bike or whatever, or they'll try to keep their heart rate a certain
Yeah, I'm just like trying to work on my heart. That's what I'm doing.
So but like for me, like I would just like most of the times I would do the Stairmaster for an hour and I just crank that bitch to like 12, 13 and just like I'm literally like running up the stairs sweating.
Yeah.
So for me, like I wasn't doing intervals. I was just one speed all the way, just like running up the stairs.
My last gym had a Stairmaster, so I feel that. Like
Yeah.
you just keep it at one constant pace and you're just cranking out.
Yeah, so you're supposed to do like you're like supposed to keep like certain like range of like steps for the hour or whatever, but like I throw it on this 12, 13, whatever, and just like run
Dude, that's
up
like
the
pretty
flight.
intense. 12, 13.
Yeah, I used to like literally run up the stairs.
Holy crap.
Yeah,
For an hour?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like you were saying, like, you know, like your coach was like, oh, like you have good like leg physique, like you should like actually do the bodybuilding part. And I was like looking at like your pictures today. I was like, yeah, were you like your parents have good legs? Because you know I work out a lot. I do squats, calves. I
don't know.
They're
like,
getting smaller, bro.
I mean, calves. Listen. People say they're not. You know, I think they're genetics.
Yeah,
Calves are
it's
just
part like that's why I asked. Like,
Yeah.
It's partially it has to be genetics, you know.
now
your
that
legs
I
are
think
great.
about it, like my dad has good calves. He also had like he played sports growing up, like he played soccer and things
okay.
like that when he was younger in India. But like part of me thinks like I think they're the way that they developed was like all the running. You know, like
Yeah.
I started running. I think it was like sophomore year of high school, right?
Okay.
So I did cross country, indoor, outdoor, and then I did like summer track training. So that's like almost like all year round for what 3-4 years,
Yeah.
you know. So I think a lot of it was that, but no, legs are definitely maybe not legs, but like calves are definitely genetics.
Yeah, my sister dryer's done. My sister has like really nice calves, and I'm always like, you don't need them. I need them. You know, let me get some of these calves.
I mean, like I said, I definitely think they're genetics. That being said, you just might be adopted, you know?
yeah, dude, I might be adopted. It might be facts.
So,
What like? Do you enjoy long distance running, or you just did that for fitness?
so I just did it. I don't even know why, like, I did it, honestly. Looking back at it, like, I felt like a hamster. Like, I was running in circles, you know? But it was fun, not gonna lie. Like, it was just...
Because it's more like camaraderie, right? Because you're running not just like yourself, you're running with a crew.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, you know, like, when you run relays, that's definitely, like, it's fun because
Yeah.
it's, like, it's a team event.
Right.
But, like...
Is that what you're really doing, like relays?
I ran on 4x8s before, but it was mostly like individual events, like the mile, 2 mile. I would run the 4x8 here and there, but I think like for me, it was the cross country aspect, where like I was like, yeah, I love like running. You're like running up hills, you're running down hills, you're running through like woods, things like that. It's just like the scenery to me was like, wow, like.
No, it's much better. I like running outside way more than
A treadmill.
Yeah. But sometimes a treadmill for me is just like if I only want to do like if I only have like an hour to work out, like the treadmill would just keep me concise. Like I know we're definitely gonna break a sweat because we push this treadmill to like 12 on an incline. Like you might not get that just around here.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So I was like, no, I feel that.
So, no, but I definitely like looking back at it, I'm like, why did I like choose to run? I felt like a hamster, but it was definitely fun, you know. Even like with running, like I wish I loved cardio that much where like I would go run instead of like sitting on the bike and doing cardio or like Stairmaster. But I just can't get myself to like get back to like running.
Nah, dude, I hate running, dude. But you got to do it. I'm just trying to build a healthy heart.
Yeah.
I realize if the heart is healthy, all this will fix itself out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, do you take any like pre-workout or anything before you lift?
So I used to take like pre-workout. and then like my anxiety would get bad because of it.
Yeah.
So I stopped taking like pre-workout, and I just focused on like pump workouts.
Yeah.
So it's just like it would just help with my workouts.
What is like a pump workout? Give me like when you say that, like what does that actually
there's
mean?
no caffeine in it,
Okay.
right? It's just like pump products. Like a buddy of mine actually just recently dropped a pre-workout. It's called Echo Vision. If you guys want to check it out,
We'll check it out. We'll put it up here. Don't worry.
So with him, like he has different tiers of pre-workout. Like he dropped, I forget the name of it, but it was like V1, where it was like 250 milligrams. That's your like not too crazy, not too low, like stim.
Sure.
And then like he has like focus products in there, and then like pump products like citrulline and things like that. So like for me, it's like I would love to like drink like pre-workout. Like like there's some crazy pre-workout companies out there like Psychotic. I don't know if you've ever.
No. So I only know like C4 is like my like just what I use normally, but I did like participate in a couple other ones. But
So
doctor,
try Psychotic if you.
I will.
But do a little like listen to the label. It says half a scoop. And like. Take half a scoop.
Yeah.
Because when I first started taking pre-workout, I didn't listen. I took a full scoop. I was probably lifting for almost like 3 hours.
Oh, really? Yeah, in college, dude, like when you're around all those like college bros that are just ego lifting. I think at one point I was like on 2.5 scoops of C4 just to feel anything.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
I was like, this
C4
is
is definitely like a good starting pre-workout. I think like the formula isn't the greatest.
Yeah, it might not be. I mean, it's like one of the cheapest too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so you could always like move up from there. It's a good start, but
I used to use this black one. It was like maybe like Power or something, or it's like in a black container. I forget what it was.
there's a lot of containers that are black for
Maybe
pre-workout.
like MP or something. I don't know. One of the kids in the house were
we'll have to look it up.
yeah.
But
Yeah, no, I feel that. So you like, it was like the anxiety and like what, you didn't like the itching either?
I don't mind the itching, but it was the anxiety. Like that kind of like got worse because like at the time, right, like when I was in prep, I would work out maybe like anywhere from like 5 to 6 days, even like 7 days. So like 7 days of taking pre-workout. So like I was kind of like relying on it.
Yeah.
It's like most people, it's like once you start taking it, it's like, oh, I need it type of thing.
Oh yeah, I mean, I need it. I don't go into the gym without a couple of scoops.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was like, because I don't even get motivated. I'm like, what are we doing here? You know?
I mean, it's like one of the things where I've learned over the years that you don't need pre-workout to train.
You don't. I'm just like a little bitch.
Listen, I was there, so I get it. But like, I just like couldn't deal with the anxiety.
Yeah.
Like, so I was just like, I had to like find something else that worked for me, and like still like, pump products like helped in the gym with the pumps. So I was like, it's like worth it, to kind of like check out what different options. Like I have a friend who only drinks black coffee.
Right
before the gym.
I love that.
He doesn't drink like pre-workout, like anything like that. Doesn't drink energy drinks. He just drinks coffee before he works out, and that's like his pre-workout.
Yeah.
So everyone so like the body's different for everyone, right?
Right.
So like if I tried that, I don't think it would work for me, but it works for him. So it's like,
Yeah, you got to figure out
different.
what works for you.
Yeah.
I totally understand that. Yeah, man. I start my day off with a nice cup of Black Joe, and then I need a pre-workout a little bit later,
Right.
But it's like, I think a mental thing for me, like take the pre-workout. Now we're like, yeah, let's work out. Like, I don't like. I've been taking C4 for so long, like I don't even get like an itch or anything. So it's just like.
At this point, you're just drinking it for the taste.
Yeah, it is really yummy, and like I like to sometimes fun dip it too. Like it is really
Have
good.
you tried dry scooping?
Yeah, so right now, I do dry scoop just because I don't really have a bottle or anything, and like
All right, so I'll get you a bottle,
Yeah.
but dry scooping is not the way to take your pre-workout.
Yeah, I know it's not. Yeah.
So that being said,
I mean, sometimes,
glasses and
yeah,
spoons,
sometimes
right?
I'll put it in a cup, I'll mix it up, but just like I'm heading out the door, like, and I'm just like, let me just like put it down for efficiency.
Yeah,
but,
I mean it's efficient, but it's not the ideal way to.
Yeah, because you
consume.
wouldn't actually want to do it with like a lot of water, right?
Yeah.
No, I've had a couple of like lifters on TikTok, set me straight. And they're like, it was like a big trend at one point on TikTok.
Yeah,
Everyone was just dry scooping.
Right.
Pat Reckner was out here just dry scooping all the time.
I think TikTok has definitely like affected like these kids
Oh, yeah.
nowadays. And what I mean by that is like whatever they see on TikTok is like kind of like they're like, oh yeah, it's on TikTok, it must be real, and it's just like all these trends. You said, like it was
for
a
sure.
trend, just dry scooping your pre-workout, and it was just like, no, that's not the ideal thing to do. But like people were doing it because it's on TikTok.
Yeah, no,
So-
dude. And there was like a couple big dudes out there who just were like, guys, like they explained the science, and I was like, oh, I fell for it.
Right,
But like,
right.
you know, like sometimes now and then I'm just like, let me just go, you know, out the door.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this: like, you talk, like, since you're like running and all that shit, like, do you do like those events like Tough Mudder and all those? Do you enjoy those?
I've done one, and it was while I was up at ESU. I did the Savage Race up in. It's a paintball field. I can't think of the name. It's Scrimmage. I
Okay.
don't know if you ever been there. It's like they had one there, and I did it. It's fun. Don't get me wrong. I
Right.
loved every bit of it. It goes back to I just don't enjoy running anymore, and like yeah, you're doing events, like you're like going up like ladders, you're
Yeah.
jumping off like in the like a water thing,
Right.
and like crawling and things like that. But it was just like one of those things where like I was like, damn, this sucks.
It's
like
too
why?
much.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
why did I think this was gonna be fun? Don't get me wrong. Would I do it again? I would most definitely do it again if it's with like people.
Yeah, with
You know,
with the crew, I understand
Like
that.
I remember like me and a buddy of mine did it, and we were like racing to see who like could get done fast. And it was like I don't know if that was miserable because of that or what the case was, but I was feeling it.
No, I feel that.
Talking about running, and since you like live in Philly, have you done like the
No, none of the Broad Street runs.
okay.
None of
You knew
like,
exactly where I was
yeah,
going.
no, I don't like running, and I have
Yeah.
these like little tiny legs, and they don't like running either. But like I only run like just to get my heart rate up. Like,
Gotcha. I've done Broad Street 3 times, I think it was, or 2 times. It's one of those things where like 10 miles is a lot. Don't get
Yeah.
me wrong.
well, my
but-
sister runs like marathons. Like she's in a half, and I think maybe a full. The
Yeah.
Broad Street's only 10.
Yeah, 10 miler. But it's one of the things where like you don't feel the 10 miles, and what I mean by that is like while you're running the whole time, there's people on the streets, right?
Right. So much
Cheering you
energy,
on.
yeah.
the energy is just different. And it's like you don't feel like you're like running 10 miles. Yeah. So it goes by like this. People are cheering you on, and it's like the just the rush. You know, it's like oh wow, like, and then you start running faster, things like that. I would definitely, if I could get back in shape, I would run Broad Street, and that's it. Nothing else.
Yeah. But aren't there people that do it like that aren't in shape, and they kind of just like walk it too?
Yeah. I mean, you're not required to
Yeah.
like.
But you don't want to
run.
be one of them. No.
I mean, if anything, I would like run a mile, walk a mile. But
do you ever hear about the color run?
I've heard of it. They throw paint, right?
Yeah,
I mean, at this point, you just might as well like do holy. Like
They're
Yeah.
appropriating holy.
Yeah,
And I always
yeah.
thought that was so funny.
I was like, this is like a festival, right? Like I'm not paying to get.
And the worst part is they mix like an awful thing like cardio with our festival.
Right,
Like, I don't really know many Indian people out here that like to run for fun. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
what? America, stop appropriating our cultures wrong. You know, everybody's cultures you fucking up like this.
right.
Don't add like Indian people aren't like a really like. That's why when I saw you, I was like, whoa, like we have a bodybuilder out there, like you know that's like crushing it. Like Indian people like really don't care about fitness as much as like other people. I feel like.
I mean, yeah, you're right. Like even with sports in general, like
Yeah.
besides like cricket players,
Yeah.
like, what like you don't really see or hear of like Indian athletes.
Like we have
that.
one, I think, basketball player now at Penn State. He's like an Indian dude.
Okay.
But it took this many years of Penn State being Penn State for us to get an Indian dude. You
Yeah.
know?
But you're right. Like I feel like looking back at it, I remember when I was in high school and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be playing a sport, and my parents like, what? What's that?
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like, oh, you got to focus on school. But I think like now that I look back at it, it's like, yeah, you're right. There's not many
Yeah.
Indian like
Anything.
Steven, yeah. But there are like if you do your research, there's a couple like Canadian Indian bodybuilders that are like IFBB Pro, which is like the highest.
Oh,
of the, yeah.
wow.
I forget his last name, but his first name is Bhavin. He is sponsored by Dark Sport. He lives in Canada, I believe.
Let's look them up. This is the power we have on the Bobcast because all Indians are also IT gurus.
Facts. I do work in IT.
Oh, of course you do.
Right.
All right, let's check out this.
So just like write like Bhavin Dark Sport, and that should come up. Dark Sport's like a sponsor.
I wonder how dark-skinned this man is.
No, it's like DARC.
DAR. Oh, dark with a K.
CC. Yeah.
The issue with this TV is my vision is really bad, so it's hard. I never know which screen to look at. All right. Oh, you know what? I'm in shopping.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Go under all, if anything. All right, so.
Bobbin's Swill?
No, let me look him up. Pull it up. I got you.
Yeah,
I know he's on Instagram for sure, so let's look him up. It's like BHA.
This guy?
Yeah, yep. No, not him. But where is he?
This guy looks pretty Asian.
Yeah, I was say. Oh, I'm gonna have to take my glasses off. There you go.
It's all right. It's all right.
He's definitely there. What's his last name? That might help.
You spell his name BHAVIN, right?
Yeah.
Hey, he's got the Bhav too.
Oh no, he spells it BHUWAN. That's definitely different.
What was it? BHU
WAN.
Buon.
Oh, it's Buon?
I don't know. I'm not the greatest Indian to begin with. This guy?
Yeah, up one more, up top.
Guy?
Over one. Yeah, him right there.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. He has to be. Yeah, this is definitely a Canadian Indian. He doesn't have the strong Indian genes.
Right.
You know what I mean? But he looks good. I'm not gonna lie.
And he's like IFBB Pro, men's physique.
All right, Shah Rukh Khan. All right, I see you. Not bad. I've always had a dream to have a 6-pack, but it's never come.
It's all right. What happened?
Yeah, I always like every summer or like every time I'm in the gym, I'm like, oh, Mom, I'm working on this 6-pack, and she calls them biscuits. So,
I get it.
She's like, oh, have you got your biscuits yet?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, Mom, I still have the whole loaf. It's still here.
Just tell her it'll be here. What's the 2022?
Yeah.
Just give it another 6 years.
Were you allowed to go to sleepovers as a child?
No.
No.
I feel like my first sleepover was probably when I was in high school, but it was at my friend Rahul's house, and he's Indian too.
Yeah.
So like that was the first.
And did your parents kind of know each
yeah,
other?
they know. Yeah. So that was like the first time like I had a sleepover. But yeah, it was like they're like, why do you want to sleep at someone else's house when you have a bed here?
Exactly.
So yeah, no, that was like a big like no until like I got older, and even then now they're like, why are you staying at your friend's house?
Yeah.
Like, you can just sleep here.
Yeah, no, it took me a long time to understand why, because they just don't know what's gonna happen. You know,
Yeah.
It takes so much effort just to bring a healthy kid to reality, and then it's just like, if sometimes like white kids can be reckless, their parents can be reckless, and now you're just like a brown kid, and since we're like 90s babies, like wokeness wasn't what it is today.
Yeah,
there was racism growing up, and you just don't know how like those parents are gonna handle your brown kid.
Right.
You know, and it took me a long time to understand that, but now I'm like,
that was definitely one. I feel like you're right. You nailed that.
But now I'm like, hell yeah, because you know what? I didn't need to be around all that energy. You know, imagine how much worse I could have turned out. Like, I'm already a pretty.
So that's the thing. It's like, your parents will always compare you to like your friends, and in reality, they don't know like your friends are worse than you are.
Yeah, dude.
And it's like, oh, why aren't you like your friend Rahul or Shiv? And it's like, you know what they really do?
Yeah.
It's like you should be like grateful that I am the way I am. So it's just funny because like, my parents would always compare me to my friends. In reality, like, I was probably one of the better ones.
Yeah, you're doing fine.
And it was just like, Do we want to revisit this?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
In fact, like, did you have like a lot of like just like I didn't have very many Indian friends growing up, so like when I would go to other places, like all like my like Mrs. shout out Mrs. She would always be like, I want you to be my child. Like a lot of all my white parents were like, you know, like, can you like I wish you were my kid. And when you say that in front of their kids, it becomes like real awkward, you know?
Yeah.
But
no, like growing up, I probably had like 3 like Indian friends.
Oh,
like
that's nice.
we all went to high school. So I went to elementary school with Shiv and Karan for a little, and then I went to a charter school, but then we all went to the same high school because we lived in the same neighborhood, things like that. So yeah, it wasn't like I had a lot of Indian friends. I only had a few, and it's mostly like white and other race.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like you're right. It's like one of the things where looking back at it, it's like. Or the best one would be like if you're over like your white friend's house and like they're getting yelled at, right? You're just sitting there petting their dog or whatever. You're like, what am I supposed to do? I'm just sitting here and they're like full blown argument. Like, you know, like in your household that would never happen,
right?
Like if you're getting a beating, it would be after the
of
guest
course
left.
yeah.
You better run into your room and like lock that door because that belt or slipper is coming.
And you can't even lock it because they're gonna open it, you know, like
right, exactly. So it's like it was just like a different like culture shock growing up. It's like if I'm over at my friend's house and they're getting yelled at and I'm like, well, this is awkward.
Well, the worst one is like, you know, Drew, if you don't behave yourself, I'm gonna send Bavik home. And then it's like, but like,
what did I do?
Yeah, like, you guys have PlayStation. Can I just stay and Drew goes to his room?
Right. Yeah, no.
What chores did he do? Because I'll do them really quick just to play WWE SmackDown versus Raw. Come on.
And that's the other thing, right? Like, so growing up, like, were you able to play like GTA or anything like that?
So when I first got GTA, I think it was San Andreas or maybe Vice City.
Okay.
Vice City, I think, came first, right? And I just think my older cousins had it.
Yeah.
And, I would like. My dad, you know, he's like, you know, he believes in like meditation and all that.
Yeah.
He has his own set of gurus, and he's like, I think he's just like seen a little bit above it. He was just like, all right, like, if we get him this game and we start to recognize violent behaviors, let's cut the game. But like, I was always a pretty happy child, and like, he just saw like GTA was like a free world. Like you had the option to go around killing people like in your free time if it was like a mission. So I think he kind of separated it. But every now and then I'd be like, hey, Dad, look at me shoot this prostitute. And he'd just be like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Come on, have some respect.
Right.
And I'd be like, all right. So every time I see a prostitute, I'm like, all right. My dad said, you got to live.
You live another day. But yeah, no, like growing up, like I remember I had to like pay someone that was old enough to get the game so I could get it because my parents wouldn't buy it. Like I remember like you ever watch The Simpsons growing up?
Yeah.
Right? So like that was like a big no for me. Like my parents were like, no, like there's a lot of like it's like ratchet, things like that. So like when they would go to bed, I'd come back out because it'd be on late at night on Fox, right? So I would sneak out of my room, go downstairs and watch it. And like I don't know if they know this to this day, but like I used to do that like until like they're like, all right, you're old enough to watch it. But like I used to always sneak down. Like The Simpsons is by far my favorite show.
You know, like I would always take a beating over a yelling.
Yeah, because the beating stops. Yelling, it can last weeks, months. Yeah. So.
And like, especially when you get older, like the beating actually turns nice because like once I like maybe like started lifting, my mom will like start hitting me. I'm like, oh, like can you get a little over here? Yeah, right. You know? And that's what really turned her off to the beating because now it's just like your body gets hard, so now it's like not hitting like a soft child, it's like hitting like a hard rock.
I don't like now that I like think about it, like I've only gotten like beaten like a handful of times, and I don't know if you can remember exactly like what age like that stopped for you.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like once I got bigger than my mom, like physically, that's when it stopped.
Yeah. So like I think about just the same, like my mom still hits me, but like it's not like scary anymore, right?
Yeah.
She was like, Bobby, psh, but like on
it's
my
not
arm.
like discipline.
Yeah, it's like even if it is discipline, you're being a dumbass. Don't drink anymore. But I'm like, hey, what's good? You know, like I think back then it just was like more of like a fear mongering type thing. Like, oh, Untane kapis. You know,
Right,
like,
right,
do you speak
yeah.
any Gujarati?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I
so it's
grew up
just-
with my grandparents living with us, so
Hell yeah.
you know, that's like the best way to learn. And then
Is Gujarati your first language technically?
Yeah, technically it
Isn't
is.
that awesome?
So,
Like,
I don't know if they put you in ESL growing up.
They did.
Thinking like you didn't know English. And it was the funniest thing ever because like I tested out of ESL, but it was just like, you put me in there because I'm brown, or like what was the reason?
I didn't like to read personally, so like I just was like, I had learned more Gujarati than English.
Yeah.
But it was like it was like your English, like your fucking grade. Like I'm gonna test you on this English. But like,
Yeah.
I didn't have trouble like playing outside or like with the
Communicating or
Yeah,
anything.
like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was straight. Like, and I have a voice like this, so it's not like I'm talking like harta. You know, like it's
Right.
just like I didn't like reading.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
didn't care about your bullshit vocabulary. And look at me now. Like I'm an engineer. I don't need to know your bullshit vocabulary. I have an iPhone, dog.
Right.
Why did we learn?
Correct.
Why did we learn cursive? I still am not like confused on that. No one writes in cursive anymore.
I mean, besides your signature, I don't see anyone writing cursive.
Dude, you've seen some signatures out there. They're just like,
Swiggle.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
like, we didn't need to learn cursive. I got B's and ass handed to me over
'Cause of
something.
cursive?
Yeah. Not because of cursive, just like English B. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's just part of it. So, dude, it's wild. But like your grandparents speak Gujarati, and then like, isn't like that the best? Like you guys just know a second language, so like when you're out in the wild, like if you need to talk shit or just like communicate.
Not
with-
only that,
Yeah.
like there's been times where like, you know, I worked retail for a little, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there would be like Indian parents or like a group of Indians,
Yeah.
right? And they'd be talking like Gujarati and they're like talking shit.
Mm-hmm.
And they just like, cause the way, like, you know, I don't have an accent. So if I'm talking to them, they're like, oh yeah, he's like Americanized, blah, blah, blah. And they just won't like expect you to understand Gujarati or Hindi.
Yeah.
And it's like this whole time, like I know exactly what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. And it's like you react and you say something in Gujarati or Hindi, and they're just like their
Oh, fuck.
jaw drops. It's like, oh, fuck. Like, I've been cursing this whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, talking shit about them the whole time.
Did you have a lot of Indians in Ben Salem?
Yeah, there's like 2 whole homerooms.
I love that.
You know, like when I graduated, there was like... Yeah, so we had the Patel count in graduation, right? So it's like, it'd be like, let's say it's like, Shiv Patel, and it's like one, like the crowd, and like the kids that are like sitting on the field. Like every Indian that comes up is assigned a number.
Oh
and
my
it's a Patel
God.
count. It's funny looking back
Yeah.
at it.
And a
but,
little
like,
racist too, right?
I mean, now they would consider racist. Like I thought it was funny.
No,
Like,
I
still
like
think
good
it's
fun.
funny,
Yeah, no,
you
no,
know? But like
Old-fashioned racism is fun. You know what I mean? That's how I've learned to like, since I work in manufacturing. Like,
yeah.
old-fashioned racism is the way I've connect with older
People.
racist people.
Yeah. So back to what I was
Yeah,
saying
my
was like,
bad, dude.
no, you're good. I told you how there was like 2 homerooms,
Yeah.
right? So like nothing against the people that were in the homerooms. Like I switched out of my homeroom. Like I played varsity sport. Like I ran, so I was able to go to the varsity club. So I got away from like the cliques.
Yeah.
But like there's still cliques. You know, it's like the friend groups that like still hang out and things
Yeah.
like that. And I'm sure they think like they're better than other people and things like that. And it's just like, you know, my parents would always ask, it's like, why don't you have more Indian friends? It's like, you don't understand. Like, it's not the same Indians, like it's not the same Indians that you grew up with in India. Like, when they, like, grew up here, like, they're different.
Yeah.
You know, they're very cliquey. So I was like, I probably had, like I said, 3 Indian friends. And that was because me, Shiv, and Karan lived in the same neighborhood, which we lived right across the high school.
Okay.
So we would walk, we would, you know, hang out. We like grew up together.
Right.
And then Rahul, I met my freshman year, and like he was just, you know,
Yeah.
part of the crew. So besides those 3, I don't think I really talked to like many of the Indians. I was, you know, friends with like other people.
Yeah, no, I feel
So-
that. Yeah, like I did the same thing. Like I didn't want to be in the Patel homeroom.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna lie, during winter it gets a little dank in there. It smells a little fucking
Yeah.
spicy. Like, what does it matter if I get a raise to you?
That's funny that you bring that up, right? So, like right around August of last year, I used to work for
Okay.
right? So I was doing like integration development and things like that. I hated that job, and so I quit. It was right before peak week for my show.
Okay.
So I quit, and I wasn't working, but I had like other side gigs that I was doing. Like I was flipping sneakers. Like I'm a big sneakerhead.
Oh, are
things
you?
like that.
Hell yeah.
So I had other stuff, and that was my like income. And I was like, I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. Like, I was like, what do I love? And I was like, shoes, right? So I started working at Snipes. Shout out to KOP. Love you guys. So I started working there in November.
Yeah.
Short amount of time. It went from like November to December-ish, right? I got promoted. The store manager promoted me, and it was like one of the things where like I was like, oh, okay, I just got promoted. I'm like, yay, management, right? And I kind of was just thinking, I was like, all right, well, what are my options now, right? And I was like, well, I could stay in this position and eventually have my own store, become a store manager, or go back to what I was doing, but like for a culture that I enjoy. Right. Like I'm working for a company that I enjoy, sneakers, streetwear, things like that. So it's like all the things that I enjoy. So there was like a couple openings in IT, and like she was probably one of the most supportive managers I had, where, she was just like, yeah, apply. Like, and she was like, listen, they love you, like blah, blah, blah. Like she was like, oh, I already knew you were going to get the job before you got hired. Things like that. Like that's what you need in like, in life, not like, from like real life, but like in your work life.
Oh, I mean, you need real life too.
Well, real life too, but like you need managers that are going to help you progress. And for me, that was, where she was just like, listen, like you have potential to do other things. And like she never like shut down anything. She was like, oh no, like I want you to stay, and like, but it's like that's what you need. Like I think she was probably my favorite manager I ever had. Right. So
it's funny that you say she, because my favorite manager was and like sometimes I feel like women, especially in like the STEM field, understand like, oh, like how fucking unfair it can be, and then when they see someone like that's actually working, and they're probably a person of color, that's like we are also like a negative too when it comes to like corporate America. And they're like, all right, like this guy's actually working hard, like let's work with this dude, like, let's support him, right? No, that's cool you say that, because like you don't hate IT, you just hated IT for the people that you were doing it before. Like, I don't hate engineering, I just hate
like insurance. Like I'd never I didn't know anything about insurance until I started working for them, right? So that was right out of college. Had zero idea of how insurance companies worked. Right. For the 3 years that I was there, obviously I learned a lot, but like that was not what I was like looking to do for the rest of my life. And like when I brought that up, I was like, hey, can I switch like maybe positions and go to another group, whatever. And it was like one of the things where it was just like, oh, we're already a small team, like leaving us would like, like it would like shock like the work and things like that. We don't know if we could like replace you right off the grip if you left, and it was just like runarounds. So I was just like, I was like, all right, I'm leaving.
Why is that my problem? Right. That's like your poor management problem.
Like that's what I mean. Like comparing my old boss to like
this one at Snipes.
Snipes. Like she was supportive like throughout from the start to finish. So it's like, I appreciate people that are supportive at the end of the day, regardless of like if they benefit anything from you, right? It's like me moving from the store level to corporate. Does she really benefit from that? No. Not much.
Because like, that's like my main mentality. It's like you just gotta like be nice to everyone, because what happens one day when you make like a sneaker shop and then you're looking for someone, right? And like you just remember like, oh yeah, that lady was very nice to me. Let me bring her on if she still likes sneakers and shit like that. You know what I mean? The game is like, so like you never know what's gonna happen. Even like investing, dude, you gotta think like fucking 10 years down the line, dude. Whatever is happening right now, it's just happening. You know?
Especially like stocks and crypto. Like I have money tied up, and I'm just like,
it's all gone.
I mean, it's like it's one of those things where it's like, all right, I'll come revisit this account in like 3-4 years when the economy gets better,
or else you'll kill yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
All my money right now is like, damn. You had that first body building competition that your parents came to, right? You placed in like the top What was it?
It was third in the open, and then second.
Word.
And then
Okay.
yeah.
So you're doing pretty well. They're impressed. Now they're supporting you, right? So where does it go from there, kind of? Like,
So I took 2019 off, obviously, COVID.
but you're like, when you say off, but you're like still lifting.
Yeah. So like,
you're not really taking off.
I was sneaking in the gyms. It was like gyms were closed. The people, like the owners, would like tape off the windows so you can't see in. It was giving me very like speakeasy vibes. Like you would knock on the door or like call the gym and they would open the back door, things like that.
And were they very selective to like who, like, since you were like someone in the fucking bodybuilding?
I mean, I feel like to a certain extent they were, but like to a certain extent they weren't, because it's like they had to make their money, right?
Right, yeah.
Like COVID was like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But it ended up being like
there were a couple of
2-3
gym
years,
owners
you know?
that would kept. I remember like looking up the news because I like to lift just for my mental health, and it was just like they were like, how can you keep this closed when all the rules like don't even make sense, and like a couple of gym owners like got their power cut off, so they would just get fucking lights, like they would just.
The biggest one was Attila's in New Jersey.
Maybe that's the one I'm
Belmar.
thinking of. Yeah.
Ian and Frank. And like, governor, what was it? Murphy, I think is the governor or was of Jersey.
The fat guy that eventually got COVID.
No, that's Christie.
Christie. Yeah.
No, I think Murphy is the governor of Jersey. He tried everything and anything to get these guys to like stop. And they took the doors off the gym. They wouldn't charge members. They lost their business license. They had shitload of fucking fees. And like people were donating money to them to fight Murphy. And like they just recently, like not recent, like 3-4 months ago, I think they just got their business license back, and like they got fined for nothing.
Yeah, no, I think they basically got like maybe they paid some fines, but like
like their assets were seized.
Yeah.
And it's like from their personal accounts, if I remember correctly. Don't quote me on it, but like Murphy was playing dirty, and like these guys did not back down one bit. And like they fought and like.
Well, you can't fuck with buff boys, like they're not scared of nothing.
I mean, you can't fuck with people's freedom.
Yeah, well, that too.
I think that's the biggest lesson to take from like COVID.
Well, it's like if you are gonna fuck with you have to like know some method to the madness. This was just like willy nilly, like, oh, gyms, this, that, but like certain operations could open if you were rich. Like it wasn't like no one was playing.
Yeah, I get it. I mean? It's like, oh, 6 feet apart, wear a mask. Well, if I'm 6 feet and it's like that's supposed to like stop the spread or like then what's the point of a mask? Well, if I'm wearing a mask, what's the point of being 6 feet? It was just like none of it made sense. And I'm not saying like COVID isn't real.
No,
like it's real.
Yeah.
But it's like the flu in my opinion. If you have like pre-existing conditions, like it's gonna affect you differently than it would affect me. Like the midst of COVID, like I said, I was in the gym, wasn't wearing a mask, wasn't like I was washing my hands, wiping down equipment, things like that, like you are normally supposed to do. And knock on wood, never got COVID.
Damn.
So like so that was 2019. 2020, I did 2 shows. One was Syracuse and one was Richmond, Virginia. Syracuse, I placed 5th, and I didn't do as well as I expected. So 3 weeks later, there was another show, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'll send it one more time."
Well, let's break it up there. When you say you placed 5th and you didn't do as well as you expected, like, sure, you wanted to win, but like, what could you have done better, or something like that?
So listen, there were 6 guys. I placed 5th, so I was at the bottom of the barrel, right?
6 guys that placed 5th.
And I placed 5th.
Oh, okay. So there's 6 guys in the competition.
Yeah, and I placed 5th.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was like a poor placing in my opinion.
Right. Well, okay. I understand that.
So that being said, 3 weeks go by, and I do another show in Richmond. And it happens to be like I lights out. Like I won my pro card there, and it was like pretty much in the middle of COVID, like when we had like group judging, we had to leave our masks on.
Right.
And then when it was like individual posing and things like that, they let you take your mask off. So I won my pro card in December of 2020. And then
this is this guy right here.
Yeah, that's from there.
Hell yeah. That probably felt good.
So, you know, I had to hit him with the Kobe pick. I had another trophy that they gave me, so I
saw that. You had two. Yeah.
So I recreated that. And then 2021 came around, and I did my pro debut at Presidential, which was in August of last year. I placed 6th. I think there's roughly around 12 guys. So I just 50-50, whatever you want to call it. You know, I thought I should have placed better. I was thinking like 4th or 5th. You know, bodybuilding is a very judgmental sport, and the judges judge
right. So that's
different.
what I was trying to get to with that first. Like when you won 5th place, is like, you know, like you go in there, you potentially do all like the cutting and you know all that to the best of your ability, but then it comes down to kind of like the way these people just view you, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, also like in that situation, like the stage was in a hotel conference room. The lighting was like, you know, those floodlights.
Yeah.
Right. They had those on the floor. So like, there's a lot of variables that come into play, like the lighting. You know, like you don't want to have like bright lights because it's gonna wash out your physique on stage.
Okay.
So you know, it's like I think part of it was that the lighting in that dark conference room was just too bright and it washed out like. It, you know, I just look washed out.
So you, as a brown man, then you put on like
tan,
you tan it more. So then, just like the lighter dudes just happen to look better.
Not even lighter. Like the person that won Jim. Me and him same coaches.
Sure.
We used to train together. He has a kid now, so like
shout out.
Yeah,
making a family.
Right. So
we love that.
you know, like Jim won. Like he deserved it. He was a bigger guy. So like I'm not saying like I think I should have placed better than I did. Like if I brought up pictures and we wanted to do comparison, like I thought like my back and like certain shots, you know, I was just lights out compared to the dude that beat me.
Okay.
So like, you know, like the side shots, like side chest, side try, those shots I thought like I did better, even like the back shots. And it's like, you know, certain judges look for certain things, and it's funny because like the head judge at that competition, when I won my pro card, he emailed me saying congrats, and it was just like a slap in my face in a sense because it was like I wasn't good enough 3 weeks ago. How much more could have I changed in those 3 weeks, 2 weeks in a sense, because peak week you can't really make a lot of changes, right? So in those 2 weeks, what could have I changed to look lights out to win my pro card at this show? But like I placed 5th here.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Because even like when I'm like just like working out, like in 2 weeks nothing really happens, right? Like you have to look at it in like a span of maybe 6 months or something like that.
Right.
You know?
So to me that was just like, oh thanks. Like I appreciate you saying congrats, but like in reality, like I don't think I looked much different from like that show to this show. Besides the lighting and things like that. So like, do I think I deserve 5th? No, maybe like 4th.
Yeah.
You know, but it is what it is. But it worked out. You know.
Yeah. So what's next in lifting? Like, you've.
So.
Are you getting back into competitions?
So that's the thing. Like this year, I have like 2 weddings that I'm going to, and it's for like 2 good. You know, like these are like my college friends and they're really, really good friends. And I didn't want to put a restriction on myself, right? Where like I can't eat or I can't drink, things like that. Like I want to be able to celebrate with them. Like, you know, how many times are they going to get married? Not hopefully once, you know? But like, it's like I want to be able to celebrate this moment with them. So I was like, you know, maybe I just take a year off and just kind of try to grow. But I think for me, it's like, I'm at this crossroad right now, whether I want to stay in OCB. So like OCB is a natural organization, right? So like you can't use like steroids, things like that. They test you,
Right.
Polygraph tests and things like that, urine tests. I'm at this crossroad where like I don't know if I want to stay in OCB or if I want to go to NPC and start using like things
Like steroids and
yeah,
shit?
yeah. So I'm kind of just stuck right now. But like outside of like that, I want to. So I've started this brand. I haven't launched it yet. Like I have all the government like stuff, back end stuff
hell
done.
yeah.
It's called Buy Barbell Club.
Okay.
Right. So I want to create this community. To phase one for me is starting this community with clothing, right?
Sure.
Create this community. Then phase two for me is opening a gym with that same name. So I want to create this like community where it's like a, it's just like same people with the same mentality type of thing.
Okay.
Where like they're just hungry.
Yeah.
Like I'm a big person that like, I believe in like, you should believe your hype. Like believe in like, that's like, for me, it's like believe your hype, and
you're the first person that's gonna hype you up before anyone else is gonna hype you up.
Right. So I think people fail to do that, and like for me, it's like I want to create this culture where like that's all these like same like-minded people are like that's what they believe in. It's like believe your hype. Like you are the shit. Like stop doubting yourself. Like stop like. Looking for validation, things like that. Like it's just like believe in yourself.
Kind of like how like your first like this boss did for you at Snipes, right? Like, you just want to kind of give that back.
Right.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like I want to take that and create that community around like believing your own hype.
I love that.
And then just like opening a gym, create like a gym culture. And then phase three, I told you like I'm a big sneakerhead.
Yeah.
And starting like a sneaker line within that same.
Now, would this be like a gym sneaker?
Yeah. Eventually, like I might like team up with like people like that want to like have streetwear companies and things like that. Like this is like Unspoken Studios, and it's Neil, who his last name is also Patel.
Oh yeah.
He owns Unspoken Studios, and he's like a streetwear designer, and like. I knew like I ran into him like at a younger age, just playing basketball, like street basketball.
Yeah.
And then like same high school, things like that. And like what he's doing is very, very cool. Like if you ever get a chance, go on his Instagram. It's Unspoken Studios.
Okay.
And I want to like team up with like designers that aren't like super, super big.
Yeah.
And like just team up with them in the sense of whether it's like helping them like pick specific materials for their their t-shirts or hoodies, things like that, and the reason is like so like my dad and my grandpa in India used to own like a textile factory,
cool.
Right? So they're like my dad is very knowledgeable about textiles. So like what right now we do on the other like it's a different business is that we wholesale like clothing.
Oh, okay.
Right. So like t-shirts, you name it, whatever you need, we could like source it to you.
Yeah.
So I want to team up with these like smaller like brands and help them like with whatever like the back end stuff, not even like be like yo like let's collab and like start a do a drop. Like I want to help them
like the logistics.
I want to be like a resource that they could like tap into and kind of just like use that knowledge that I have of it and kind of just like help them grow.
No, I love that.
So like I see that plant over there, right?
Yeah.
It says favorite child. So is that accurate or?
So this is my mom gave me this plant because she's like, oh, you live by yourself. Like I would always brag about this Roomba.
Yeah.
And she's like, I think you need like a fucking something to take care of. And this was before I had Clifford and Clifford too. But the favorite child thing is like I had a guest on, Nicole Sarnice, who I went to high school with, and she actually like started like a plant. Oh, this one says suck it. It's like for a succulent, right? And then she has one that says like aloe there, which is like for aloe plants.
Yeah.
But she started in jewelry, and then somehow just like one day she had put like a jewelry on her plant, and then like social media went crazy. So now she kind of started making plant accessories.
Gotcha. Okay.
And since she was on, like she just like brought me some merch, and like I have a plant, so I put it on the plant.
Yeah.
But it's like pretty cool because like I was like, you know, like people would think like, oh, like dressing up your plants is like whatever, but like now more and more people are becoming plant people,
right?
And like
it's like I feel like it's a stepping stone to owning a pet, or like even a kid.
Well, even I think people who have plants actually like, you know, because plants like give off oxygen.
Yeah.
You're like breathing better, and
Right.
you're just like
happier and
taking
just like,
care of something. You know, like especially in the city where it's like all concrete.
Yeah.
You know, like and just like watering this guy Alejandro. You know, every now and then I gotta like it was funny. Like she was on here and I was like, oh, I just gave Alejandro a trim.
Yeah.
She was like, what did you do with all his clippings? I was like, yeah, they're in the trash. She's like, why didn't you propagate them in all these cans and bottles that you have? And I was like, Nicole, I'm not.
That's above me.
I was like, I'm not a plant girl, you know.
Right.
I got one plant for my mom, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, but like, yeah, like I was like really excited when she started coming up with this because like I was telling her just wait, like Miley Cyrus or like one of these like rich women are gonna find this one day. They're gonna be like, I want to put a $1 million drip on my plant, and like all you got to do is just make it for them. You know, like,
so I think a big person that would kind of like pick up on something like that is like, I don't know if you've ever watched like Fixer Upper, you know, like Joanna Gaines and Chip.
No, I have not.
Okay, so like they're big on like HGTV. They like flip homes and they like, you know, they'll like not decorate or like they kind of stage houses and things like that, right? So like I'm sure like if that pops up on like their For You page or whatever, like they're like, oh, we could start doing this, and they have a TV show, so it's like
it's just a matter of time. Like,
yeah,
and she does this all by herself. She's like a one woman band. So it's like, just wait, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, this is like, I thought it was cool. I was like, I want Alejandro to have a necklace,
right,
and like she makes also like studs that you can put on the leaves and shit. And like, and I mean, if you're a plant lady, you're gonna enjoy this. Me personally, I just need one on my guy,
right,
and then I put one on the wall because this one is like kind of like
funny.
Suck it, yeah. All right, this is like vulgar, and you know, I was like, you got me there. So I was like, let's do it. But yeah, like plants, bro. You have any plants? Any pets or anything?
Well, I have a dog.
Oh yeah, what kind of dog?
So she's a Chihuahua mix. So like, obviously it was a fight to get her, you know, and
With
your
your
parents.
Yeah. Did she live at your parents' house?
Yeah. So the thing was like, they're like, well, if you get a dog, it has to be small, blah blah blah, and my mom was in India. My dad was the only one home. Yeah. So I just show up with a dog.
Oh God.
The rest was history. Like my dad was like, oh, like I'm not gonna take care of it, blah blah blah. Yo, they are two peas in the pod. Like when my dad walks out of his room, you hear her wake up and go like shake off, jumps off my bed, goes out the door, and like they go do whatever they do in the morning. Like he'll take her out, things like that.
I love that.
But like, yeah, it was just like one of those things. Like I got her right around like January 2019 or 2018. I forget exactly. It's been like 3-4 years that I've had her.
Love that.
Yeah, but like that's, you know, there's days where like I'll be at work or I'll be out and I text my sister. It's like, hey, send me a picture of Swoosh. Like Nike's my favorite brand, so I named her Swoosh.
Aww.
You know, and I worked at Nike when I was in college. So it was just like, oh,
it kind of just felt right.
Yeah. So like there's times where like I'll text my sister or my dad like, hey, send me a picture of her. Like I just missed her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like my child. So
I love that.
But yeah, it's like I have Swoosh. My mom has like her bamboo little vase and like the money tree, like exactly. Yeah. So she has that. But like I don't have plants. Like she grew up on a farm, so it's just
that's so funny because so did my parents.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of parents.
We're all farmers.
Yeah. So
we are farmers.
You guys need a new commercial? Hit us up.
Did your mom get along with the dog?
She doesn't like, so my grandpa had a dog, right? Because they lived on a farm.
Right.
She was never really a dog person. So even when she had Scooby, that was his name.
That was the Indian dog?
Yeah.
Okay.
My grandpa's dog.
Was he a Great Dane?
No, he was a German Shepherd.
Okay.
So she never liked dogs like growing up.
Right.
Like she had a dog, so she was always around him.
Right.
With Swoosh, I feel like Swoosh knows like I could only do so much with my mom.
Yeah.
So like I tell her, I'm like, go say hi to grandma, you know? So she'll go say hi, and then like that's the extent of
Yeah.
it. You know, like she doesn't really mess around or play with like my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Like if my dad comes home or my sister comes home, she'll like come, like if she's upstairs,
Yeah.
she'll run down the stairs, fly around the corner, and like wiggle, like
Yeah,
start
like,
barking,
hello.
like yeah, give me
Yeah.
attention. But with my mom, it's just like very casual. She could just like, I feel like dogs are good with like energy.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
just
yeah.
know like
She knows who's the baddest bitch in the house.
Yeah. So she just was like, you know, like I'll come say hi and like
Yeah.
give you kisses, but that's the extent of it, nothing more.
Yeah, I always thought it's so cool that dogs can speak all languages. You ever think about that? Like your dad obviously speaks Gujarati. Does he ever speak Gujarati to your dog?
Yep, and she understands it, right? Yeah.
I always thought that was the craziest shit. And then like people are like, "Oh, my dog." No, they understand tone and energy. My guy.
Yeah. It's like I've seen videos where like there's like a Spanish mom, like a Hispanic mom talking Spanish to the dog.
Yeah.
And it's just like she's like, "Oh my god!" Like no, it's like that's what it's used to. Like your commands are like that's out from whenever you got the dog.
Oh yeah.
So
I always try to come with like the most. Whenever I see a dog on the street, I always try to like make my energy like very not offending. And those dogs like always like they always like look at me and they're like, oh, and the owner is like, oh, like what, like oh, and I'm like, oh,
yeah,
buddy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I love like dogs.
Yeah, man. Sam, you fuck with cats?
Yes and no. So like I had a roommate in college, right? Brooklyn. She got a kitten. His name was Martin.
Mm-hmm.
Martin was the biggest dick I've ever met. You know, like it was vicious. But then like last night I was at my friend Sam's house and she has a cat named Callie. Callie was like chill, like you know, like not a dick. So it depends on the cat. Like if it's anything like Martin, keep that thing away from me.
Well, now
like,
that I
wanna
tell you
punt
this
it.
Marshall thing, now does it like maybe the cat is like its owner? Was Brooklyn
No,
or she
was like calm for the most part.
It
But,
could be just a cat personality too, you know?
yeah, I mean, I don't think it's always like, nah, you're right. Dogs or pets definitely like take after their owner.
They have to because you're like their dad.
Right.
Like, you know, I still don't understand why Clifford has played dead with me that one day because I've never come home and just been dead. But like then I think about like, you know, there have been times I've come home blacked out and I don't actually remember what I did.
Yeah.
I could have been just like passed out on the
couch.
floor.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, Daddy does that. I should do that."
Right.
But you did it too long, Clifford. You did it too long.
So that's original Clifford?
So this is original Clifford.
And then
That's new Clifford.
New Clifford.
And new Clifford is young and has attitude. Old Clifford is like, you know, he's pretty chill.
Yeah.
You want to hold him? He's pretty chill. He has no beef with anybody.
So is this a girl or a guy?
He's a guy.
And then
They're both guys.
Okay.
If you go and look at beta fish,
Yeah.
the ones that are like big and pretty
Yeah.
are guys, and then the ones that are like really small are girls.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I mean, I do love girls, but like when it comes to aesthetic of fish, like come on,
Right.
You know.
Bigger the better.
Yeah. Well, not even that. Like I like their like, you know, like their
Tail fin or whatever you want to call it.
They got more aesthetic.
Yeah.
And when I was creeping through your Facebook earlier, I found something interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite movie franchise? Is it Fast and Furious?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Definitely is.
So okay, let's get into this, and then we get you out of here because it's getting kind of late.
All right.
And I mean, unless you want like, so it's like 10:35. We've been at this for like almost 3 hours. So
Okay.
I don't want to hold you here forever because I know you have to drive home and shit.
We'll play it by ear.
Okay,
Let's do that.
cool. Can I pee first before we get into
I
Fast
got
and
you.
Furious?
Yep.
Sorry guys, I had to take a pee break. You know what the Bobcast be doing. I have a small bladder. We all know that. Yeah, so your favorite movie franchise is Fast and the Furious. When I was on your Facebook, I saw that you liked Tokyo Drift. Was that your favorite one?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
I was a big fan of Han.
Okay, so you just like that one because of the character.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I had to pick like my
Tokyo
favorite
Drift
one-
was 4, number 4.
I think it was 3.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, because Fast and Furious.
I just like.
I forget.
Yeah.
At this point, there's like too many
Yeah.
to like. But it would have to like if we take Tokyo Drift out of there, right? I think my favorite one is where like Ludacris calls up Brian to come race, and he's like, "Dude, you got like 3 minutes or whatever."
Yeah.
And then there's that scene where they like the bridge goes up.
Oh
think-
yeah.
Yeah, that one I can't remember what number it is, but that's probably my favorite one outside of Tokyo Drift.
Let's see. I'm about to pull them up. Maybe I can get a picture with all of them in it.
So you know they're actually out of order, right?
By like storyline.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even like. Is Fast and Furious based off something?
So it's not like based off like anything real. But like if you like, there's like a like certain movies are supposed to be watched in certain orders if you want to understand a full like timeline.
Holy shit.
The reason why I say that is because like Tokyo Drift, right? Han dies, but he's in Fast 5. And do you remember the one scene where in the Tokyo Drift, Dom pulls up in his car in Tokyo Drift at the end of it to race? I forget what the dude's name is in Tokyo Drift, the other main character.
So Tokyo Drift is not really one I know too well. Yeah.
So I forget his name, but like he was just like he pulls up. If you pull up the scene, right? It's he pulls up at the end of Tokyo Drift and like he kind of just like, oh, I heard you know Han, like,
Yeah.
and like, well, obviously Fast 5 he's alive, and the other one, so it's like Tokyo Drift would be like the later movie. So I think they're out of like order. There's a certain order that you should watch them in.
Let's look this up. Which order should you watch Fast and Furious? So, you know what was like really funny? When I first started this podcast, I wanted to like make this a constant thing. Like, oh, Clifford is supposed to be like my internet guy.
Yeah.
But since obviously he's a fish, he
Yeah.
can't. And that joke kind of failed. All right, let's see. In the right order at a glance, what order should you watch Fast and Furious films in? Yeah, these are just doing it by date.
No, so it's so like you see how Fast and Furious Tokyo Drifts 2006 at the bottom.
Oh, okay. I didn't even get here because this was 1, 3, 3, 9, 11,
Yeah.
13, and then 6 was at the bottom.
Yeah, so you're supposed to like watch it in a certain order, like to understand like the timeline and everything.
Yeah.
And I don't know if people really know that.
No, like, you are the first person to ever tell me that. So now I have to go back and watch Vin Diesel for another fucking 10 hours plus and to get it. So, okay, Tokyo Drift was the last one on that list. So
Yeah.
after that one, they want you to watch 7.
Because like Han isn't in this now.
Yeah. So was this the one with Dwayne? Yeah, Dwayne The Rock Johnson and then Jason Statham. I really like this one. Or maybe Dwayne's not in this one yet.
No, I think that's where like
The next one he's in.
yeah.
The Fate of the Fast and Furious. Oh
Where did they put Fast and 5 or Fast 5? Because I don't remember.
Let's see. Hobbs and Shaw, then 9. And I'm assuming the last one is 10.
Oh, so Fast 5 is after Fast and Furious 4 and right before Fast and Furious 6. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. You know what? I never even thought about it like this, but now I have to go back and watch this. Holy shit. This is like what else has too many movies? Like they're redoing all the Harry Potters. Like I'm a big Harry Potter fan.
I'm sure there's a like
Now
gonna be
now they're making like another fucking 7.
Oh really?
Yeah, like I'm like no, guys, stop! Like it was done.
Right.
No more Harry Potter.
That's how I feel with this franchise. But it's like it's Fast and Furious.
Yeah, but
like you know.
so like Fast and Furious isn't based off a book though.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. The books are done.
Right.
Like Fast and Furious can just keep getting like
crazier
and wilder.
You ever see 21 Jump Street and at the end of it it's like 21 Jump Street and it's like whatever and then like it's like they go off to college and then like the next
they made like another one.
Yeah, but it's like they have a whole like at the end of the movie it's just like multiple movies and it's like they become chefs and it's just like it's like a running joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what you're saying with the Fast and Furious. Like, there's no
end.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, if you're just doing it for like now, like just entertainment, I love it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, does it ever like? Are you gonna have an end, or are you just gonna leave us like? Are we gonna be Fast and Furious 85?
Yeah. And I'm like in a wheelchair and on like Mars or something.
You like hit me up like, oh, but Vin Diesel, Vin Diesel put out another one. Like, we're gonna go watch it. Is Fast and Furious the reason you have an Audi? Why do you have an Audi?
So I love fast things, you know. If I could have like my dream car would to be own a GTR, like an R34, get it imported.
Is that a Nissan?
Yeah.
GTR, yeah.
Right hand. And that is because of Fast and Furious. Like I would love to. That'd be my dream car if I could import one with like at a reasonable cost.
Yeah. You know what? You know when you build your gym and all that, we can get that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
what color would you get it in?
I would have to get it in that like that navy blue. Like I forget what's.
Is it from the movie?
Yeah. I forget which one it was from, but it for sure. And the movie that I was talking about was Indiana Jones. I couldn't even think of it.
Indiana
so like
Jones.
I feel like he would make a great so that so like if you go to the second there he is right there. Paul Walker's leaning on it. The fifth one in.
This one.
Yeah. That color. So like my first car was a Honda Accord and I like lowered it, put it on springs and everything. And it was like similar to that color. It was a little darker, but I would definitely like go for that color.
I end every podcast with this great game. Would you like to play?
Of course.
Okay, so up here I have a blizzard. And you have 3 guesses to tell me what the blizzard is. And if you get it right, you get to get on this awesome list of people who just know ice cream. And for this game, you're allowed to take off your sunglasses because color may help you. So
is it birthday cake?
Close, but
Dang. Sugar cookie.
We'll act like we didn't hear that one.
All right. Oh, jeez. I can't tell you the last time I've been at Dairy Queen.
So this candy or cookie or cracker, you've had it in your lifetime.
Animal crackers, frosted.
Damn. I knew I shouldn't have said animal cracker up front.
I wasn't sure if that was it. You ever have those like cookies that have that like big layer of like icing on it and it's like a sugar cookie?
Oh yeah.
That come in like I thought that's what it was at first. But so it's like what, frosted animal crackers?
It is, man. So usually after the second guess, I give him the fucking hint cracker.
Yeah.
And if it's a white person here, man, it gets real weird. Because I just be saying like it's cracker. But you're lucky I had some beers and that slipped out of me way too early.
Well, I appreciate the hint.
Hell yeah, man. So you get to be on this great list of people that know ice cream.
It's an honor. Also, I appreciate the Gatorade ones that you got up there.
Yo, bro. So you know that's what I was about to bring up when you told me your your shoe fetish.
Yeah.
Like this is my favorite shoe that I own.
Really?
And I was like, oh, I don't really know you personally, so I was like, let me just give him my favorite shoe. And then when you started saying like you love shoes so much, I was like, damn, I put the right shoe up there. You know, it's either this shoe or that Jordan over there.
It's like
some type of 5, I think.
Yeah, but
I don't know. I got it from Foot Locker, but this was like the only like limited edition Jordan I ever had, and I just love the color.
So like they had that whole lineup where it was like orange, purple, yeah. They sat on like shelves for a while, but they're like
Yeah, I
they're
know.
worth
Like,
money.
so I don't like to resell shoes because I like to wear them.
Yeah.
And these are actually like my most comfiest shoes. Like I love wearing these, but like
So I think like ones in general, if you like high tops, but 3s and 4s for me, they do it. Like those are my like go-to Jordans.
oh, I have to check them out.
Yeah.
So I'm like all about comfiness now. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
You know the easy slides?
Yeah.
You ever
So you're about to hate me for this, but
time to put
the Yeezy itself, I don't find them as an attractive shoe.
my take on them is they look ugly at first, but they're comfy as shit. And that's how I was with Crocs. I was the biggest shit talker about Crocs. Hated them. Like I was like, I would never buy a pair. Got a pair for my birthday. When I say I've bought multiple pairs of Crocs, like I bought Jibbits. Like, yo, Crocs are underrated.
I'm gonna have to get it. Like I want to get a pair of Crocs, but my girl keeps saying like no.
Yes, full send it. Like buy yourself one and buy her a pair. Like let me know what color, what size. Like I'll go to Snipes and use my 40, and you'll both get a pair.
Hell yeah, dude.
So but yeah, no, they are underrated.
Any other shoe recommendations?
I mean, do you own a pair of Forces? I feel like those are always good to have.
No, I don't really own a pair of Air Forces because these are like my, if I'm gonna wear like a cool Nike. Otherwise, like if I'm just wearing like a white shoe,
Skate.
yeah, like my day to day is either those Nike running shoes,
Yeah.
or just like Vans without laces.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? But like, you're just like, talking about like the white Air Force ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
They're an icon shoe. I feel
they
like.
are, but like so many people have them too that I'm just like, well.
So nowadays, the other shoe that you'll see that everyone has is the Panda Dunks. They're the black and white Dunks.
I actually never seen these.
They are the new Forces in my opinion. I feel like everyone has a pair of them.
Let me check these out. Panda Dunks. Still by Nike?
Yep. Simple black and white, not much going on to it, but
yeah.
like
I've seen
they are
these.
the new Air Force Ones in my opinion.
Yeah, so I'm not like really like, when it comes to shoe, it's just like, now I'm like, fuck, I don't fuck with laces anymore.
Really?
Once I got the non-lace shoe,
Yeah.
I was like, bro, I'm getting old. And like it was like wow, I don't need to tie any laces.
Right.
I was like, life was so easy, you know.
I mean, Crocs. Slip
Yeah, that's
on,
what I'm saying.
right?
Like,
Even better.
I'm like, and you put them in sports mode, and
Right.
fucking you're
You
going.
can skate with them, I'm sure.
I bet they've made like skate shoes, like skate Crocs by now.
Another pair of shoes that I've been thinking about getting for like shits and giggles is a pair of Heelys. Like I owned a pair when I was younger,
Yeah.
and like every time I would wear them, teachers would take my wheels.
Oh,
So I got fed up and I had my dad order me more wheels, but
Yeah.
I would wear those to work. Like I just
you know what came before the Heelys? The Steelies. Have you ever heard about those?
no.
So they're basically a shoe, but in the arch they have like another arch, but it's metal. So the whole game of this shoe was to run and then jump on a rail and slide down the rail.
Really?
Yeah.
There was no wheel on it, but it was just that metal.
It was just the metal to metal grind. And what would be a real dope shoe is you put a Heely with a Steely, and now you can just skate on your feet.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've ever done this. Like I would wear like baggy sweats, and I would pull the bottom of it, and it would cover my heel of like my shoe, and I would slide. And since my heel is covered, it would just be like I would slide across the like floor.
Yeah. No, but with a shoe on.
Yeah.
I've never tried that because I never thought about it.
It was just baggy like sweats, and I was like, I could like slide across the room.
But they have to be kind of like jogger-esque to stay taut, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't just like use like loose ones.
Yeah.
No, interesting. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
You do it in school?
Yeah, when I was younger.
And then like,
and then like there started being holes in them when my mom started beating me.
That's what I was about to ask.
Yeah.
Like, your mom would be like, Pratik, I spent some good money on these.
Right.
What are you doing?
Why is there holes at the bottom?
Yeah.
No,
and
it
she's
was
probably,
short-lived.
she's wondering like, how, like, I've lived my whole life. How does
Right.
one make holes like this?
Perfect circle.
All right, Pratik, you've been here for a hot minute. Tell the people where to find you.
Catch me on Instagram. My at is no. This is Pratik. Like, when Patrick answers the phone call at Krusty Krab, and they're like, "Is this the Krusty Krab?" And he's like, "No, this is Patrick."
And what is the brand you're looking forward to starting? Because we'll look out for that.
So it's called Buy Barbell Club. The Instagram is up. I just have to start producing content to post on it.
Oh yeah.
But shoot a follow. And it was a pleasure, man.
Yeah, dude. No problem. When the Bobcast comes out, we'll fucking
we'll link up for sure before that.
I will push that brand so hard.
Yeah.
And everything I can for you.
Right. We'll make it work.
Yeah, it'll be a fun time.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Till next time.
Take care, guys.